Hello and welcome to your job interview. My name is Helen. I'm an English teacher, but I've previously worked in management and conducted job interviews at several different companies. In this video, I'm going to explain some common interview questions and talk about how to answer them. We'll start with some simple questions first and get more difficult as we go along. The first question, you will probably hear this question in every type of job interview. It doesn't matter whether you're going for an entry-level job or a higher management position, your interviewer will probably start by saying, "Tell me a bit about yourself." Tell me a bit about yourself. Your answer to this should be quite brief. You don't need to give your whole life history, but do include any relevant qualifications, relevant jobs, so similar jobs that you've done in the past, and perhaps an interesting hobby if you have one. But don't include lots of information that's not related to the job or that's not relevant to the position you've applied for. For example, if I was being interviewed for a teaching job, I would talk about when I got my TEFL qualification. I would talk about the different types of teaching job that I've done. So classroom teaching, online teaching, private lessons. And I would also mention my jiu-jitsu hobby because I am a qualified teacher at jiu-jitsu as well. So that's relevant information because it's just a different type of teaching. Things I wouldn't talk about very much would be my experience as a lab technician or my work in a mobile phone shop or any of the part-time jobs that I had while at university. They're not relevant. They don't tell the employer anything about my teaching skills or experience. So keep it relevant. And if you have a hobby that has transferable skills, so a transferable skill is something that could be useful in your job, then do mention that because it may make you stand out from other candidates. Question 2. Why do you believe that you would be a good fit for this role? And the meaning of this question is, why do you think that you will be good at the job? And this is not just about your qualifications. Of course, you can say that you are well qualified, that you have good work experience, but also mention things like your great people skills, your ability to build good relationships with customers, or perhaps your great attention to detail, anything that you think may be useful in the job. Think about the type of job you're applying for and which skills would be the most useful. Question 3. How has your previous experience prepared you for this position? Here you need to think about your previous jobs or your education if you don't have any previous jobs. You can talk about your achievements, your successful projects, any extra training that you did, anything that made you better at your job or that will make you better at the new job. Don't try to be humble. An interviewer is not expecting you to be humble. They want to hear about your achievements. So if your team had better results than any other team in the company, then say so. This is your chance to show what you can do. It won't be seen as bragging. It's not rude to say, "Here are my achievements. This is what I did in my last job. This is what was successful." That's not bragging, that is relevant information, and your new employer will want to hear about that. Question 4. What are you passionate about? Employers sometimes ask this question because they want to see a little bit of your personality. They don't want everyone to sit there like robots answering the questions in exactly the same way. So it would be very easy to go to the company website, and maybe the company has written something like, "We are passionate about customer service." So you could go into your interview and say, "I am passionate about customer service." But the interviewer will know that that's a lie. Nobody is passionate about customer service, not really. They want to hear about your real passions, the things that you absolutely love. So perhaps you are passionate about Old English literature, or rescuing stray dogs, or music, or anything that you absolutely love. Talk about it if you're asked this question. Interviewers do like to see some enthusiasm. They like to see a bit of your personality and get to know you a bit better. They want to see a bit of your personality and not just hear the same answers from every candidate all day long. Question 5 is a question I would expect to hear in an interview for a higher level job. If you apply for a basic supermarket or factory job, you probably don't need to worry about this. But if you're working in management, this is the kind of question you might be asked. The question is, what are your expectations of this role? This means, what do you think you can achieve in this job? For example, as a manager, you could say, "I hope to develop a strong, confident team who feel well supported and are able to develop the skills to progress." If the job is a stepping stone position, then you can say that you want to use it to gain experience in order to move up. By a stepping stone position, I mean something like assistant manager or deputy manager. If you are an assistant or a deputy, it is assumed that you will want to move up to manager at some point. Those positions are like training positions where you learn the skills that you need to become a manager. So if you are applying for a job as an assistant manager, it's okay to say, "I hope to spend a couple of years working as an assistant manager to develop my skills and gain experience to move up to a management position." Question 6. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? Or where do you see yourself in 10 years? The employer wants to know your career plan and your ambitions. Lots of big companies promote people from within the company. So they want to know if you have any plans to move up. They want to know which level of the company you're aiming to reach. And how you answer this is up to you. Maybe you don't want to be a director of the company. Maybe you don't want to be a regional manager. Perhaps you're happy to just stay in the position you're applying for. But I think most employers do want to see at least a little bit of ambition. So try to sound enthusiastic at the thought of being promoted if you're asked this question. Question 7 is a question that I failed miserably in a job interview many years ago. The question is, what is your star quality? And I sat there and thought about it. And it was a very uncomfortably long silence. And then I said, friendliness. It was a terrible answer and I didn't get the job. Now, I would say something like, my star quality is my commitment to the belief that education should be available to everyone. That's why I make these videos every week, even though I'm not getting paid to do it. It would be nice to get paid though. So if you could all share this video and watch all of my other videos, that would help me to get this channel monetized. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you soon. Bye.